So the other thing I want to bring up one more, and then we don't want to about Jim is I watch a clip of his, and I see you wear a lot of T-shirts with rock bands. So it seems like you're into rock bands or good music, good 70s music. And I don't know if you're just wearing the shirts or what are you wearing there?
This is Miles Davis. So
Oh, okay. So you're into good music.
Yeah.
But Jim, I believe, went on a rant about Motley Crue. I don't know if you saw his clip.
It was our metal episode. Yeah, we had Rob.
Where he talked about how Motley Crue could be sung by boy bands.
I think what he said was, if you had boy bands sing all their songs, they would make sense. Is what he was saying. Yeah, and he went through and did he's the one that called Dr. Feel Good.
Yeah. So they're basically phony rock stars singing like boy bands.
I see what you're doing here.
Why are you a Motley Crue fan? Or?
Yeah. That was my childhood. I was like 10 years old when Show to the Devil came out.
I want to get your opinion on, and that's the only reason I want to bring up Jim is your opinion on the Motley Crue
no
and their boy band persona.
No offense to the guy you tour with, but fuck Jim Jeffries. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Welcome, fellow lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
I got some big tando.
Hey, fellow lushes, welcome back to another episode of podcast. Hey, fellow lushes, welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Dimples and the Beard. No beautiful lady tonight, but a beautiful, sexy man.
Hey, we gotta cater to everything.
Comedian,
and I want to laugh.
Writer, just all around,
and huge actor.
Good guy, huge actor. He's big in the acting world.
No,
Forrest Gump is there? No, Forrest Shaw. Forrest Shaw.
Not allowed. We'll see if it bugs him or not.
Being called Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
I'm sure being called one of movie's biggest R words probably is not flattering.
He's not R word.
Yeah, I guess he's probably more A word, huh?
I think so. Something goofy like that. I don't fucking know.
I'm not even going to try. You can talk your way out of that one on your own.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I do. And so do the A-moms. And they are coming for you. We just lost any A-mom who was listening. Before our guest gets here, though, I felt terrible because
you should.
I received such a wonderful, wonderful gift for our 100th episode, and I showed up empty-handed. But then,
have you worn it yet?
I wore it in Belize.
Yeah,
but then
it's our first podcast coming back from Belize.
It is, and I wish I was still in Belize, which is why I'm wearing my big titty rum shirt.
That is a great.
Anyway,
go ahead.
What was I talking about?
I don't know. I don't listen to you anyways.
Fuck, what were we talking about? The gift.
Yep, I got you a gift and you shafted me.
You got me a gift. I completely forgot. But then, I know what
I would never do that.
But then I think even that evening, you told me a story about having to blend a brandy Alexander in a bowl with a spoon.
Yep.
And I thought I can make up for this faux pas that I did. And
invited someone over to have brandy Alexanders and then said, "Oh, I don't have a blender."
And the worst part about this story is one's even a woman. You invited a guy back to your apartment for brandy Alexanders that you beat with your hands.
And then I put it in a bowl and I'm like, I can do this.
And that was Marcy Dick.
And then to be fair, it was, 2:30 in the morning after we closed the bars down.
Anyways, I present to you.
Hey.
Oh, I had it on the Spanish side. For all us Spanish watchers.
Look at that.
I present to you a six-speed mainstays. That's the cheap brand from Walmart. I don't skimp. This thing has 6 speeds with pulse function.
I'm gonna pulse.
48-ounce dishwasher safe. They're not all safe in the dishwasher.
Oh, well, there you go. So I can put the base in the dishwasher as well?
Yes.
Perfect.
Stainless steel blades.
You fucking spared no expense.
To crush, blend, grind, and puree.
I'm gonna grind on my brandy.
Do you know how it does that?
How?
With a 360-watt motor.
Holy fuck, 360?
360. I looked at the 240, but I said, no, that's not good enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I upgraded to the 360. I had to go. They had to take me to the back room. They said,
I'm gonna tear up.
360.
I'm gonna tear up.
Don't. I sent the 480 to a different podcast.
All right.
So
Randy Alexander's at my place.
So I'm pretty sure we need to do a blended drink here in the next
Yes.
little bit.
Yes.
And we definitely drank some delicious blended
get that.
drinks
Yes.
in Belize. I want to get my banana dirty again.
Oh, that was so good.
I want to do a blended cosmopolitan. No,
dirty. No. Mojito.
mojito. That's what I meant.
Blended mojito with coconut milk.
Coconut. That's where I was getting it.
That's the key that I missed on that. The ones that
Coconut milk makes all the difference.
fuck it does.
Mm-hmm.
That, and I'm not a huge mojito guy.
Have you ever milked a coconut?
He's the pro. Yeah, I never heard of him.
Coconuts?
Yes. Where'd they come from?
You never heard of mojitos?
Did they just blended mojito?
Well, they only blend them in paradise. You can't get a fucking blended mojito in Wisconsin.
That's true. It's got to be, because when I was sitting at the bar having whatever else drink that he made, that
I saw a picture of
Irwin, great bartender, made me that was delicious. And then I'm like, what is that?
Not somebody who's at the studio.
And then he just went, oh, you want to try it? Like, that is phenomenal. Blended mojito. Give me one of those to go.
But you can't get them. Well, it depends if you're listening in Belize. And what's cool is Jose shares everything. Jose is the only real friend I have. I love you, Jose. I hope you're watching this. I have friends who have been my friends for 30 plus years as Facebook friends. Every time I share my podcast, they go, fuck you, and they ignore it. I've known Jose for 7 days, the best 7 days of my life, I might add. But 7 days, I nearly killed him with a go
You
kart,
almost killed the poor guy.
and he still shares the podcast. What fucking shit do you have? Okay, I'm done.
You good?
I am. That felt good. I had a rough night. I got home to a mess. My dog's so I was a little angry when I got home.
And you beat your dog.
I did not beat my dog. I do not advocate beating. I would advocate just leaving in the middle of the woods.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make some ice cream.
Well, I needed that rant, so thank you.
Good. I'm glad he works. And yes, Jose
I'll see
has
you.
been terrific. And we will see you again, my friend.
I'll see you next year, buddy.
And we'll
bring a blender.
bring him.
Did the fake
It
cat
might
have a
have.
blender?
Might have, yeah.
We'll do some. Mm-hmm.
We'll be blending it up. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to reach out to them and say, give me that recipe for.
I like all of.
I'll have to reach out to Trina and say, can you get me?
Are you friends with her anywhere?
We're getting there.
No. Do you have her social media?
No.
How are you going to get there? You have her number?
No, I got it through the Captain Jack's.
You got her number through Captain Jack's? Her personal number?
No. We'll get there.
What are you going to just call Captain Jack's
Yep.
and ask for Trina?
Yep.
Jose, can you do us a favor?
Hook a brother up.
Head on down to Captain Jack's.
You know what it was? You were there when I was talking.
Sylvia, he's doing it for Kevin. Go get that number. My boy needs to play.
We need Irwin's recipe for blended mojitos.
And I will still stay at the Airbnb even if you and Trina do live together. That Airbnb is my
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So you're not going to lose a customer. That was the best vacation of my life. I've never had one like that. It was so from top.
Everything just went smoothly.
Yeah, from top to bottom, man. And Chef G. Now
here's what I'm jealous of: that you got to eat there twice,
I know,
and I only got to eat there once.
I'm going back there. When we go back there next year, I might eat there 6 fucking times.
I'll be there too.
Yeah,
I'd have no problem going back there.
I
mean, there's something for exploring, and that's fine. We can do that for other things. But yeah, I one meal a day there.
You eat 2 meals a day. You can explore on the other ones.
Exactly. I agree. I agree. That guy's food was so good.
Following his Facebook account is hair. Like every time he posts, I'm like, oh, I'm so fucking hungry.
I want your I want your wings. I want your ginger sauce.
If you're ever near Palencia, Belize, Finger Food Delights, go see Chef G.
Chef G's the man.
And I know we put out a Belize episode, and people have already heard this because a lot of people actually watched it. I think it was how we titled it.
Well, you can hear it again because I got a feeling we'll be talking about it for a while to come. Because that meal was amazing.
I'm not sure.
It was like for $1.
Like when I when I'm gonna go like to some place that's like ICU. Let's say ICU supposedly has really good wings. I'm gonna order their wings. And I'm gonna be like, these are shit.
I'm gonna throw them at the cook. I'm gonna bombard everybody. This one sucks. And that one sucks. This one sucks too.
I wonder when this thing really takes off.
I'm not gonna have wings for quite a while.
When this thing takes off, the podcast. I mean, when we start to get, we are less than a week away from anyway. When we strike it big, Forrest is in the waiting room. So hold on. But when we strike it big, the first thing we do, we bring Chef G here to be our personal podcast chef.
Yes.
All right. Never leave a
ship those wings to us.
Never leave a sexy man waiting.
Absolutely not.
All right. Without further ado, Forrest Shaw.
Hey, I just hit you guys up because I didn't know where the link, and then I searched my email, and it's from last October. We're here. We're good.
Oh, thank goodness. You know what I did? I came to the studio, and which is his apartment, but came to the studio and realized I brought my daughter's phone instead of mine. So I'm like, I hope he doesn't need to message us because
I did message you, but then I figured out.
You know what? And I said I'm going to look on my phone,
and you didn't.
We didn't. We got bullshitting. We're dumb. Yeah. We're dumb. You'll figure that out.
You need me to put on headphones for the recording?
No, whatever you want. Yeah, you're good. You're good. We're not Joe Rogan audio quality. We're not consider whatever works.
Does he have good audio quality? I don't even know.
I don't know. I assume so.
We're not Mermen podcast quality.
We're not.
How about that?
Yeah, we're pretty fancy.
I know. You got the studio.
You really got crazy. You really got crazy on the conch. You really got crazy on the conch shell today. On today's episode.
Oh, me. Yeah. Don't get used to that.
It's a clever little opener.
Yeah. Dave loves it.
Yeah.
But that's my personality anyways. I'll do it when I feel up to it, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So fill us in.
What's that?
Fill us in.
On what?
What did you do?
They play the conch shell at the beginning of the episode, and he went balls out on it today. So on today's episode. So yeah. Normally you've only hit that thing once or twice, haven't you?
I think we've done 20 episodes. I've probably maybe half.
Okay. All right. It's a little more than I thought, I guess.
Yeah, because I don't want Dave to get sad that I'm not doing it. You know, I gotta give him a little honk. So
yes. We're talking with Forrest Shaw. We're talking about the Mermen podcast that he does with Dave Williamson. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's start with
your demographic. I can tell of your podcast. When I was perusing through, I'm like, I don't know if you guys know that I'm an aging fat man.
Well, here's the thing. And don't tell any of the pretty ladies that come on, but I love talking comedy. But the pretty ladies just, it's hard to pass when they say yes. So
sure. Yeah.
But we do love talking comedy and with comedians and stuff. They're some of our
right. And when we see it, we're like, that fucker's funny.
Yeah.
With our podcast, we'll have on who we want. We want funny people.
Yeah. So let's go over your origin story because it's kind of unique that you went from marine biologist to comedian. How do you what starts the love for marine biology? And
the original's love for marine biology as a child? Just love it.
Yeah, I grew up in Miami, and I grew up on the water. Like I could drive a boat way before I could drive a car. And and I don't know. I don't know if people think it's hard to drive a boat. It is.
It is hard. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad you guys know that. I think some people, if you've ever been to a place that rents boats and watch people take them out, you can see right away that it's not easy. Like people don't know.
I am surprised when they just give them to people that don't know how to ride a boat. Just here you go.
There's no licenses. There's no licensing for
right.
boats.
Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah.
I did a little bit of damage to a rental pontoon once, but that's a whole other story.
So yeah, I grew up on the water, and my family was all very water oriented. I grew up in Miami, and so that was always something that like I was drawn to. And then so I studied biology, and I got a job working for Miami-Dade County's Department of Environmental Resources Management.
Oh, that's official.
Yeah, it's also known as DERM, the Department of Environmental Resources Management. DERM.
Durham. Sometimes they don't think of these things.
And I worked there for, I don't know, 12, 13 years, something like that. And I like stuff like water quality testing, counting seagrass, manatee research, stuff like that. And I was doing that. And, you know, like anything, as the longer you stay with a job that you thought was a job that you were going to love. And I did love that job, but like you start off on a boat and you're scuba diving and you're seeing like, you know, you're out eating lunch next to a dolphin and it's cool. But then the longer you stay with it, then they're like, hey, you're doing a good job. We're going to promote you. And then we're going to promote you again. And then I was just like fat at a desk, like writing grant proposals. And I was like, this is not fun. This is not what I
wanted to be in a boat all day. That's why I took the job.
But you don't get paid a lot when you're in the boat. That's the thing. When you're in the beginning and you're doing all the grunt work and all the risk, you're not getting paid anything. Right. I don't know. I don't want to shock you guys. There's not a lot of money in science. That's I don't know.
What? When you hear a title marine biologist, that does sound like something that would pay rather well, actually. But
I don't know why you would think that. Why it sounds like a cool job. Like maybe like you could pick up a woman with that, like telling like, hey, I'm a marine biologist. I can swim with sharks during the day or something.
I was gonna say, or save them. If you tell them you save the manatees, you're golden.
How many times has someone told you they're a marine biologist, and then gotten into a Ferrari? You know, like it's not really.
That's true.
To be fair, there aren't a lot of them around here in Wisconsin.
No, we don't. Yeah, we don't have a lot of marine biologists.
Oh yeah, you'd have limnologists. You guys know that?
What is that?
Yeah,
study lakes. They study lakes.
Oh, okay.
Fresh water.
So you never went to school, like college, for that?
Oh no, I did. Yeah, I went to college. Yeah, they don't just. Give
I thought you just just got a job, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's awesome. How do you do that?
Pull them out of the co-op.
You're amazing.
No, I went to Ithaca College for my undergrad. I went to Ithaca College in Central New York. Some people.
Okay.
And then I had the intentions of going back and getting either a master's or PhD or something like that, but I never did. Everyone else I was working with went back and got that, and then I just got promoted. So it's kind of weird because I was like overseeing people that had a master's and PhDs. I'm like, sorry that I'm getting paid more money than you guys now. You really deserve it. But
crazy how education works sometimes. Not always the best move. Sometimes it's just better to stay at the job and work your way up.
Yeah, just grunt it out. And then I started doing stand-up comedy then somewhere around, I think like 2004 or 5 was my first set I ever did. You know, it was crappy open mic, whatever. It's terrible.
So you were doing it as a side hustle while you were still working?
Okay, when you say side hustle, I usually assume you're making money from the side hustle. The first time I earned money ever was probably two years into it.
Oh wow!
And I did a show over in like Punta Gorda, Florida, at an Irish pub called Celtic Ray.
Perfect.
They passed a tip jar around at the end of the show, and I want to say I made $27, and I was.
So in 2 years, you made $27 in stand-up comedy.
Well. Those Irish, they got to save their money for the drinks. They're not going to tip you big. Because I can say that.
That is the problem. They passed the tip jar on at the end of the night. Yes,
right. They were all out of cash. The Irish drank themselves out.
So that first show, was it a dare? Was it a friends pushed you up on stage, or how'd you get involved with that first open mic night?
No, I just you got to. You know what? I went out to a lot of them and watched to see how bad I was going to be compared to other people. Yeah. And I remember the first of them I went to, there was 3 comics that went up. One of them was my friend Al Jackson, who I'm still friends with. He's a really funny stand-up comic. He is a host of a show called Daily Blast Live that is like airs every single day. He has a Comedy Central half hour presents. He has multiple specials and stuff. Just to give you an idea, that's where he's at now.
Yeah.
when I was watching him, he was already good. And I was like, well, this guy's good. Then the next guy up was a guy named Malik Sanin, who went by Malik S back then. He is a writer on the show The Neighborhood. He writes, I think he has another show in pre-production right now that he's created. Very funny stand-up. Used to tour, he might still tour with Cedric the Entertainer and stuff like that. He headlines on his own stuff. So these are the level of people. They weren't like doing that then, but these were good comics. And I remember and there was one other comic, and I'm like, well, I'm never gonna do this because I was just watching like Ringers, And then just like a shit show came on after that of people, a cavalcade of terrible comics and people that were, and I was like, oh, I can do this. I was like,
but now I fit in.
I was gonna say that's all it takes to boost your confidence a little bit is to watch people who really suck. It's kind of like karaoke night. Like, just wait for the worst guy in the room and then go after him.
Yeah. You need those people. Otherwise, you're the worst one.
Right?
Yeah.
So how'd it go that first night? I mean, was it quiet, and what do you remember a joke that worked that night?
I remember most of the jokes. It was a bringer show, and it means you have to bring, I don't know if you're familiar, that means you have to bring at least 10 people to this, or they don't let you perform.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's your entry fee.
I brought 70 people because
it was at the 7-0.
Is it the 7-0?
Overachiever.
Well, you know what happened? I was at the Miami Improv, and I'm from Miami, and I think most of my friends didn't think I was funny or something. I don't know, and they wanted to come see me bomb. I guess I don't know. A lot of people showed up to see a disaster, I guess, of some sort. I don't know if that's what it was, but and then I went up there. I have never been on stage before, like even I hadn't even done like a talent show. So I hadn't really held a mic or anything. I didn't know how to do anything. So I didn't know about like lights were going to blind you and any of that. So I memorized my set. I had practiced in front of my cats.
Did you get laughs from them?
No laughs. And that's a bad thing, because when you're actually on stage, if you're not, you got to stop when you get laughs. You get laughs and you stop, you do a tag, but when I'm practicing, I was just running through it like I was reading, I was like doing slam poetry or something. And when I had jokes about my cats in there too. I think one of the jokes was something about like I'm trying to figure out a way to tell I just want you guys to know these are the first jokes I wrote, so don't judge me. Trying to figure out a way to tell my cats that they were adopted or something like that, and because they've been acting out, and like one of them had got all 9 of her nipples pierced, and another one something else. I don't know. And then at the end, I start singing a song for some reason. It was like a version of Prince's Kiss, but then with some other lyrics. I don't know. You do a lot of stupid shit at the beginning of comedy, and like middle of doing that, I was like, this is terrible. And I also somewhere at the beginning of my stand-up career had a bit about masturbating in the shower to the song "The Devil Went Down to Georgia." I think that was a bit I had. These aren't.
I know what I'm going to think about. I know what I'm going to think about tonight. I'm going to play that song. Go.
A shower at night. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I hope you don't think about me when you're.
I hope not either, but we'll see how it goes. All right.
But it wasn't the worst though. I had some other. I think you know what jokes I had in there. I had some jokes that were when you start off in comedy, there's certain jokes that at the beginning work, and you like latch onto those like a life preserver, and you're like, well, this works, so I'm gonna keep doing this and hopefully get some other stuff in it. It was about being raised by a single mom. I remember that, and it was like, gosh, I don't remember. It was something about like peeing sitting down. My legs were shaved or something. I can't remember all the wording, but that worked. Sure. And it was a hippie and didn't let me eat sugar, so I only got to eat grape nuts, and it was a cereal named after a fruit's testicles or something. And that actually kind of worked. I didn't have my timing down yet, and I didn't have anything, but like the nuts and bolts were there, and I was like, okay, that worked, and this didn't work, and then I got enough laughs to where I was like, well, I'm going to do this again. So I didn't bomb, because when you bomb, you don't want to do it again. Trust me.
No, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say how hard was it to do it again? But seems like you enjoyed it. So
there's a combination of even if you, I'm telling you, when you're on stage at the beginning, even if you get 5 people out of 50 laughing,
Mhm.
your brain will perceive that somehow as 5 times that, and you'll trick yourself like, wow, I did really good there, and that was
Okay.
good, whatever. And I don't know, and somehow it's this combination of you want to keep going. There's some sort of adrenaline rush there, also some delusions of grandeur, and probably some problems with your ego that you need to, yeah, and definitely most comics are damaged in some way. So that you're trying to get at that. So there's some combination there where I kept going, and then and eventually you have some really bad bombs and you got to work through those. I almost quit one time
You
with a
do?
bad
Yeah.
bomb, oh yeah.
Still haunt you?
You remember the bad ones, don't you?
I'll tell you what it is. You want to know
Yeah.
the worst
Yeah.
ones?
Yeah.
Okay, that joke that I had mentioned, it was like the masturbating to the song "The Devil Went Down to Georgia." I got it to work, that joke, and in the joke, I would turn my back to the crowd. And I would pretend like I was masturbating, and I would do like the the fiddle, sound,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
And then I would be like, do some of the lyrics, and then I would say something else that's happening, and then I'd be like, and I was like, I go back with my back to the crowd and pretend I was masturbating to the fiddle. And that was the gist of the joke, and it was working pretty good, just because it was stupid. I'm masturbating on stage. Of course,
Right.
you're gonna get some laughs,
Right.
Anyways, the manager of the improv at that time, Miami Improv, he said, "Hey, do you want to do a guest spot this Thursday or Friday?" And a guest spot, with a major headliner coming through.
Sure.
You're gonna right after the MC, before the feature. You're gonna do usually 7 minutes, 6 to 7 minutes, but now you're on a real show. This is my first real show. It was on a weekend, so Friday, Saturday. My buddy, aforementioned buddy Al Jackson, was hosting.
Okay.
The other guy, Carl Remy, very funny comic. He still performs now. He's making movies and stuff. Carl Remy, he was featuring, and Gary Owen was the headliner. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Gary Owen.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Gary Owen is the only white host ever of BET's Comic View.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
BET's Comic View, it's like, so his crowd was like, they call it urban in like their lingo for comedy clubs, but most of the crowd was like was Latino, Black, and whatever. And that doesn't mean anything wrong, but I had never done this. Masturbating to The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Here's the thing. Al Jackson was like, "What are you going to do out there?" I go, "Yeah, I think I'm going to do The Devil Went Down to Georgia thing." He goes, "You think that's a good idea? Like, you think these guys even know that song?" I go, "I don't know. It's doing great at all the bars, dude. Trust me." And that's always the sign of a kiss of death right there. So I got there, and I should have thought about it more. Like the Charlie Daniels band to this crowd, I might as well have come out with like a KKK hat on or something like that. Like this, like country music wasn't going to be their jet, So
I could just
get into the bit, and I turn around and I start the masturbation part, whatever, and there is nothing. I mean, now I'm just pretending to masturbate on stage in silence and doing it. I turn around, I do the rest of it, then I turn around and I start masturbating again. Now people start booing. There's booing going on in the back.
Oh,
Loud booing. There's booing from different sections going on. There's some women in the front that feel bad for me, so they actually stand up and say, "He's trying his best. Stop doing it. It's even worse." Like, and then I just kind of like my confidence has just drained out of my body now. But I still have like 2 or 3 minutes left of the set. So I'm done with the masturbation fiddle. Like I turn around and I'm literally in the mic like this, like, "Yeah, anyways, there's for my next bit." I'm just like mumbling into the mic. I have zero, and people are still booing, whatever. I get off stage, and I remember Al's coming on to take me off, and he just made a face. He's like a good friend, but he made a face at me, because there's one thing that comics really love is seeing their friends bomb. And he just made a face, like smiling at me, like, "Was that fun for you?" And I was just like, "Oh God." And
He even warned you.
He tried to warn you. I was just looking at that. Yeah.
And then I tried to sneak out. I felt like I just wanted to curl up and die. I tried to sneak out of there. And what's crazy? When I was sneaking out of there before the end of the show, and Al was in the hallway talking to one of the guys that was booing me. I remember seeing him standing up and booing me, and he goes, "Hey, good set." And I go, "No, you booed me." And he goes, "Yeah, we're gonna do." Like, it's just like, he was trying to be nice.
I had to go with the crowd, man.
And then, so what I did like years later is I would do that. I would tell that story as the joke. I would tell me bombing, and then the final punchline was always like, "Hey, the only thing worse than being booed is being booed while you're masturbating." I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm doing this right. I've done this.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Build it as another joke. There you go.
Yeah.
Was that one of the times you're like, all right, this is not for me? But not every joke works every time. For every crowd, you've had to have ran into that.
Well, it was a learning lesson where it was like number one, I was newer, and that joke. I mean, looking back, that joke was pretty rudimentary. It just wasn't
Right.
like I would do today, you know. But also, you always read the room too, kind of like, and I
Now
think
you read the
saying
room.
that, like, I don't even know if people know this song out there. I mean, maybe they do, but maybe, and also it's kind of weird. You're doing like a country. So, you know, what's funny is I want to say like a year or two later, I had gotten a lot. You just get stronger quicker as the more sets you do. And Gary Owen was back in town, and there was a new manager, and I just said, "Hey, can I do a guest spot on Gary Owen?" Like, I asked him, because they have to ask the headliner. You don't want to ask the headliner direct, and
Yeah.
didn't know him no up, and they let me do one, and it was like a redemption thing. I was like, I'm going up there, and I'm gonna do a set, and then I had a great set. I did like 6 minutes, had a great set. I don't even think Gary Owen remembered me. I think he was just like, yeah, this guy, that was better. But
So you didn't try the masturbation joke again?
oh no, I wasn't doing any of the same jokes. I was doing a completely different set, and I went up there, and I had a different mindset. There's just so much more confident. I mean, that's like 500, 600, 700 sets later, you know.
Nice.
That it's like you're in a different world, you know.
Yeah.
So at what point did you say, I'm quitting marine biology and just going full time?
2010.
Okay.
And I quit. I have my resignation letter here somewhere. I can read it. Yeah. It's funny. I just found it the other day.
I'm gonna say it must be good
yeah?
if you've hung on to it for 12 years. It must be a good one.
I was going through stuff in my computer. I was like cleaning up stuff in my computer, and I was going through stuff, and I found it.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm gonna find it here, but it was October of 2010 is when I quit my day job. I'm not married, I don't have kids, and I was just kind of like, look, I'm not making a ton of money doing this, but I'm making enough to where I think I can do this. And there comes a point in these kinds of professions where, you know, where you got to kind of take this leap. You know?
Shit or get off the pot, right?
Yeah.
And I would imagine your day job restricts you too. So it's now you're free to just do it all the time. And
you know what? I was out of, I would have to take time off, because sometimes you would get with these weekend gigs out of state. So you do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I'd have to like leave on Thursday, Friday, take that off, or Friday, and do like try and get a flight back early on Monday morning. Like, just burning it wasn't fair to anyone. You know, it wasn't fair to just me and my body, but it wasn't fair to like my day job either.
Yeah.
And so I made this decision.
good.
Yeah, it's somewhere in here, but I remember I wrote something to the effect of like, I wrote it on it's like a memo on county letterhead, because I had to write it like that to submit this like letter of resignation, and give them and it was like, I was making jokes in it the whole time. But you know what, people at that point, people had come out to see me and stuff. They knew that I was coming and stuff. So, but I remember I made it funny, and I was like, oh, okay, that was pretty good. And it was like something, I'm leaving the rewarding and something job, and I can't find it. Actually, if I would have known you were going to ask me, I know it's in here somewhere, I would have had it ready. But I quit that, and then I lived in Florida for a little bit, and then I moved to LA in 2013 to really, and that was the next big step of like, okay, I've done this full time now for 3 years, but let's get out of South Florida, because I got to go, you know, to where I wanted to be writing on television, doing that stuff too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you meet Dave before you went to LA, or did you meet him in Miami?
I knew we're both from Miami. So I met him at that same improv years and years before that. And yeah, he had a little bit more of a comedy background, because he had done some improv troupe work, and I think in North Carolina, or maybe it was sketch work or above. And he was a little bit ahead of where I was starting, but around the same time. And then he you know, I'm sure you know his story. He picked up him and his family and put him in the RV, and they toured around the country and stuff. And so he left to LA and out of Miami before I did. And And he kept asking me like, when are you going to move to LA? When are you going to move to LA? And I'm like, well, I have these cats. I had 4 cats at the time. Right. So I couldn't.
Oh, I love that you are unique in being one of the only men who's a proud cat owner. Like, I had 4 cats.
They're all dead now, but I had 4 cats at the time. Have a dog. But and I said, well, look, I want to move there, but I got these 4 cats. I can't, because you're gonna go to a small apartment when I move to LA.
Right.
There are 4 cats, so I got to figure it out. And he thought that was the funniest thing ever. So he
wouldn't let you live in the RV with him for a couple weeks. You and your 4 cats.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of an RV. Also, well, my cats pissed a lot outside, so I don't think they would have liked that.
So did you pack up your 4 cats and move, or did you?
Eventually, but you know what he did? There's one of those websites, Fiverr or something, where you just he sent someone $5 or $10 to draw a picture of me and my 4 cats, and my 4 cats were telling me to move to LA, and like he paid for that.
That's fantastic.
He likes to pay for stuff like that. He paid for our theme song famously for the Mermen show. Like,
I was gonna say, he paid for a love song for you, didn't he, on the first episode?
Yeah, I think he paid like $300 or something. Maybe more. Yeah, he was
obviously his rub is selling well.
I hope so. Yeah. But I think when his wife, we were doing a show the other night, and it's a show at his brewery, and his wife was in the back, and I was sitting next to her, and he was talking about the song that he paid money for a podcast. And I think the amount changed when he was saying it at the show, and she's like, I thought it was like 250, and I go, yeah, I thought it was 300. So it might have been like 400 he paid. I think he even paid more for this song for our podcast, and
isn't that like
I paid 4, and then he sees his wife $50 for the song. She's gonna get mad if I pay more for a love song.
I was gonna say, isn't this kind of like a fish story? Every time you tell the story, it goes up. Like by the time like he uses this bit all up, he will have paid $2,000 for that song for you.
Yeah. Oh, I found my resignation letter.
All right, let's hear this.
August 2nd, 2010. But so my last day of work was October 8th, 2010. So I gave him 2 months notice.
Wow.
Oh.
Please let this memo serve to inform you I'll be resigning my position of Environmental Resources Project Supervisor. All very long titles at this place. After more than 12 years of service with the county, I've decided to enter the highly unstable and low-paying career field of stand-up comedy. At this point in my life, I feel it best to walk away from a fulfilling job in my field of study to instead be judged and often strongly disliked by a group of strangers. This is my resignation letter. Each night as I lay awake in an uncomfortable hotel bed, hoping to make enough money through t-shirt sales to pay for my phone bill, I will take comfort in the choice I made to leave a stable and satisfying job. That's on file somewhere in the county right there.
T-shirt sales?
That's perfect.
You were moving that much merch? If you need to move some t-shirts, this guy will buy it. Everyone you got.
I still have some Eat Babies ones left over.
I'm sorry, Eat Babies? That's all.
Yeah.
That's got to be a bit.
No, it's just a mantra.
Never told a joke about it at all.
We want to, come out and see you.
Yeah. No, it's a bit. I still have some, so I don't do the bit anymore, and so I don't sell them anymore. But I don't know what size you are, but I've got a bunch in a bag. Probably.
Okay.
We'll trade you shirts. We're sending you one. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
absolutely. We'll
for sure.
Yep.
I would proudly wear that on our podcast. Like we were just in Belize, and their rum is Big Titty rum. So.
Of course.
Yeah.
That was Belize.
Fantastic. Have you ever been? I know you travel a bunch and never been.
No, I've never been there.
Have you ever been anywhere like in Central America?
No, I've never been anywhere in Central. I mean, Mexico is North America, but I've been there. But I've never been anywhere south of Mexico. And I want to go to Costa Rica. I want to live in Ecuador, from what I've read. That looks like amazing.
Cool.
But Belize would be great. I would go anywhere.
Costa Rica is beautiful too.
I think Ecuador is in South America, isn't it?
Yeah.
But anyways, I haven't been anywhere in South America or Central America. That's where I want to go.
Yeah.
So when I was there, we did spend a day, and I got to see manatees that came out of the water for quite a while. It was kind of neat. And then I swam with a shark.
Cool. Wait, what did the manatees look like? Were they like freshwater? Were they Amazonian River? Or so you were in Belize, you said.
Yeah,
Right?
it's the Gulf.
Yeah, the Gulf. I mean, they
Oh,
they
yeah, right there. Yeah, so they could be. Yeah, okay.
they'd
So
come
they-
up for air, and then they were fast, and then they come up for air, and there was only one, like maybe twice that they actually like kicked the back end, but other than that, they just kind of came up and went, but we stopped and watched them go around
yeah,
us.
just put their nose up and breathe like that.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
But to a geek like me, it was kind of cool.
What kind of shark did you say?
A great white, I'm pretty sure, was next to me.
I don't think so.
I have no idea.
It was a
I'm
nurse
a
shark.
great white in Belize, but yeah, maybe. But I don't think so.
We were told by the caretaker at our Airbnb that it was a nurse shark.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Well,
And he
No.
he said the same thing. He was like, it's not you. Yeah, you're fine.
It's still a shark in the water.
nurse sharks, and I don't know if this is still the statistic, but they were the number one as far as sharks that bite humans, number one, because though people tell that guy says shit like that. They're fucking nurse shark. Now they're not aggressive. They're not gonna bother you. They don't even have really much in the way of teeth that are gonna injure you, except they have those barbs. There's probably like 2 barbs in the front that kind of hang out like that. And because a lot of their food, they're like inhaling almost their food and stuff like that. However, though, people say that all the time, like, oh, it's a fucking nurse shark, and they go down and they start pulling on the tail or poking or do something, and it turns around, and then people get 2 barbs in their arm and whatever, and it's not going to kill you. Like I don't think a nurse shark could kill you unless you really let it just gnaw on you for a while. Like just kept like, maybe if the barb went in your throat, but a lot of bites happen, and it'd be painful, and there'd be some nasty infection and stuff. You're not going to die, but a lot of people get bit because people don't respect them. So there you go.
I could have got a bad infection.
Forrest, you're killing me here. You're killing me.
He's gonna call me a pussy the whole time, but I could have got a bad inflection.
Well, you shouldn't be afraid of it. It's not aggressive at all. Nurse sharks are not aggressive at all.
Yeah. So in your time, did you ever have like a bad experience with a real shark? Were you ever in danger when you were doing your job?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes I'd work out on the open and the reefs off the coast of Florida, and we would see sharks. We'd see some tiger sharks, but they were like juvenile, so they were 6 feet long. And when they're 6 feet long, they're pretty skinny.
Sure.
But because there's certain breeds you have to watch out for that. I mean, for the most part, you're fine. But the breeds that are more like bull sharks are aggressive breeds, and not that they want to attack humans. It's just that they have this very high level of testosterone.
Okay.
And if you're in certain areas, if they mistake you for a food source, that kind of thing, So we used to do a lot of diving in this area called Florida Bay. So if Florida is like this, and then the Keys, the Keys wrap around like that. So that all that water in between the Keys in there is like a real key area for like estuary and nursery ground for like small fish and crustaceans and things like that. But there's also big fish and sharks and things and stuff, and go in there, manatees and stuff. And so we used to tool around back in there, and we used to do seagrass research. We basically were like looking at seagrass coverage, and we'd be actually literally counting seagrass blades and shoots, literally
Jesus.
doing that.
Okay.
And sometimes the visibility was like this, sometimes it was fine, but sometimes it was like this. And some of the areas we'd be in were bull shark breeding grounds. And that would be an area where you wouldn't want to run into a bull shark, So sometimes you just don't have to, you would just dive in and you just be doing your job and stuff, but there could have been sharks in it. I don't know. So like was I in danger? I don't know. I've never gotten bit by a shark, but there was one time that I was in there counting seagrass, this and that, whatever. And I'm like down there, and all of a sudden I feel like a whoosh of water like that, like a tail or something pushing the, like if somebody,
yeah.
And I'm like, all right, and I'm in the water. By the way, there's 2 of us. One person stays in the boat. One is with this long tube. Basically, you don't even have a tank on, so because it's shut, and you're in the water doing it. And they're monitoring you. They're looking at the boat. They've taken some readings, and they're looking at it. And I feel this whoosh, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I pop my head up because we're only in like 4 feet of water, and the guy in the boat's like this, like waving down like this. So in my head, that means get out. There's something's going to kill you. Get out of the water. So I'm like, I'm like that little bit calmer than I wasn't freaking, but I'm like swimming back, looking back. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, there's a manatee over there. I go,
Oh, you.
I go, why did you go like this? You could have been like, cool, manatee. I can't like,
Yeah, this is kind of the universal sign for danger. What
yeah.
danger?
I was like, that, yeah, you could have been like, hey, fun fact. That's what you should have said. Like, there's a manatee. We saw sharks in there all the time. I mean, I had seen bull sharks when I wasn't in the water there. I saw like they're called they're not hammerheads. The shovel heads. I think that what are they called? Is that what they're called? Why am I forgetting the fucking name? But they have like a shovel shape head, but they're in that hammerhead
Oh,
family.
okay.
And things like that. So but I'll tell you what bit me the most is a fish called a triggerfish.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, you can Google it. They get pretty sizable, and they're on the reefs.
Okay.
And man, they're very territorial, and they've got little chompers, little thing, and they'll come up and they'll take a chunk out of you if they don't like you, if you're in their area and their territory. All you have to do is search triggerfish scuba bites, and you will find a myriad of scuba divers that hate this fucking fish. Like,
Yeah.
and it's big enough to where it's like and if you're not watching out for, because we'd be underwater like we're not like enjoying. I mean, we would take some time at the end to enjoy it, but most of the time we're like doing work under there, so we're writing stuff underwater, we're doing. And I'm like, Jesus. You're like, dude, now you're bleeding. So now there's another problem. That is it for others.
Now the shovel shark comes.
So when you're in the water, you're getting bit by fish all the time. But then it was the desk job that made you leave and go.
That's what kills you, man. I'm telling you. That's
yeah. No, I hear you. I have one. So
it's an interesting point. You said, so you're down there, you're not really enjoying. Did you ever take vacations and dive to just enjoy it? Or you're like, I'm sick of water?
And first of all, don't get me wrong. There was, like, if we had a dive and we had a job to do on a certain dive, we had tasks we had to cover. There still would be 5 to 10 minutes of that dive. 15. You're still underwater. Yeah. You're still on a boat. So even there still be some moments where you'd be like, all right, this is cool. Or what's that? Let's go check that out before we go up. You still were enjoying the job. Don't get me wrong. I mean, even there was times like where I would just like hang out there, and because sometimes you would be done and you're waiting for someone else, but you're all underwater. You're going to go up together. So sometimes you just got to sit at like the origin point, I call it, where we're going to go back up to the surface together, and you're just kind of just chilling there, and you're still enjoying it. And also, by the way, when you're just floating on a boat and you're eating your lunch in the middle of nowhere on the boat, like it's still pretty awesome.
Sure.
Yeah. So
on our trip, there was a guy. There was a guy that his job was construction underneath water, but he was there deep sea diving because he couldn't enjoy underneath the water, but he loved it doing construction. So he was there deep sea diving on his own. So that's why I didn't know if you did. It seems like yours had more luxury.
I went to the Cayman Islands, the Turks and Caicos. I went to the Great Barrier Reef once. I was down, I tour with Jim Jeffries, and I do a podcast with him as well. I don't know about that podcast. And the first time I went to Australia with him, we were doing some shows up in Queensland, and we were in this area called Townsville, is where we drove up to Cairns, and we took a ferry out there and went to the Great Barrier Reef. And I actually got a scuba tank on in there. And we weren't like in the parts of the reef that I would particularly want to go to, because it was like the more tourist area, but it still was. It's crazy. This was like, quote unquote, the touristy shit parts of the Great Barrier Reef. And it still is such a ancient reef, and the relief it still was way better than reefs I had seen. Like in Miami, and still blew them away. Like what you would see, just the diversity and the relief, as they call it, like how high the reef would describe. It was really amazing. So that was, Turks and Caicos has some pretty nice stuff too when I was there.
Yeah, we've heard that. Your sister goes down there.
Yeah.
So speaking of, how did you hook up with Jim and get into the podcast with him?
I met him. I just met him at a comedy club. I met him at a comedy club in South Florida, and we got along, and was like, all right, nice to see you. Let's stay in touch, whatever, cool. And he was kind of on his way up. He was doing clubs, but it was clear he's this very good, because he came from England already, like he was cooked. He was done. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like I'm learning how to, but he had this strong point of view. At the time he was really well known for his like atheism kind of stuff and his irreverent kind of, and he was just getting to that point in America where like he was just selling out these clubs and just crushing and stuff. And some people would hate him and like walk out, but he was getting that fan base that people that love,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so I was like, I worked this one weekend. I was like, all right, yeah, cool, nice meeting you. And then 2 weeks later, we were working another club in Florida randomly, not just like, oh, hey, good to see you again. And then the next week after that, I was working another club with them, and I was like, hey, and we just kept. It was like I kept being linked up with him, and we just got along really well. And then as he kind of started to like ascend and whatever, he didn't know a lot of people in the States either, and we just hit it off as like friends, and he would just call me up like, hey, I'm coming to the East Coast. You want to do all these dates with me? Or I'm coming out to LA, and come stay with me, and whatever. And we just became friends that way, and so and then when by the time I moved to LA, it was just right at the time like he was about to do his next special, and that gun control bit came out that what really catapulted him into this next level. And and then I it's crazy that I haven't been to South America or Central America, because I've literally been around the world with him to like all of Europe and Asia and parts of the Middle East and
fun. Yeah.
Australia and New Zealand and stuff. So yeah, it was really
I was gonna say, you just had a trip to Asia, right? We were originally gonna do this like a month ago or something, and you ended up going to Asia, didn't you?
I was always going to Asia, but we were going to do this, and I got COVID like the week before.
Oh, that's yeah.
And I was
fucking
maybe
COVID.
not going to go on that trip. Yeah, it was like literally, and it's like now you can get COVID in the States and it's whatever. You can go sneeze on someone, they don't care, but they do. But we were going to Asia where it's like there was still a lot of it's more strict,
Sure.
Luckily, I tested negative before we went, and I got to do the trip and stuff. But we went to South Korea, Taiwan, Tokyo, Thailand, went to Bangkok, Singapore, Malaysia, and then we ended up in Indonesia. Yeah, so
that's a hell of a tour.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
So you were opening for him, and then you started writing for his show, or I don't know how the timeline goes for that, but I
had been friends with him for a while, and I was opening for him, and then he got his Comedy Central show, and I didn't start writing right away. I actually got hired by one of the producers on the show, to work in the digital department and write copy and stuff, because I had written stuff before, but not actually been staffed on a show. So the idea was go work in the digital department, write like some tweets, write some stuff for Instagram, write some stuff for Facebook, come up with some digital shorts and things like we can do, and then hang out in the writer's room and learn.
Okay.
And then the second season, I became a full staff writer. So the second and third season, I was a writer for the show.
Is that the first show you wrote for? And then from there,
I had written a bunch of stuff, and I'd written some things, but the first full like Writers Guild show, staff show, like for that was my first real introduction to working on a television show. It was amazing. And actually the first year was great because I wasn't just thrust into something that I didn't really understand being a writer, and I was able to work in this digital department. I kind of was able to roam the whole all the time, and I like learned so much, like not just in the writer's room and digital, but it was just like, hey, let's go see what's going on, like post-production, or what's going over here and this, and let me talk to this producer. And then I'm just going to wander onto the sound stage. And what does this mean? What is this? And like craft services. All right.
Learn the biz.
That'd be my favorite part. How good is craft services on a show like that? Like what?
Let me tell you, it depends who you hire. Right.
Oh,
and we had a woman named Danny on our show, and she was one of the, I'd been on a bunch of shows, like walked on into the sets with friends and things like that. So I had some familiarity with it, but I didn't have a lot to compare it to. But Jim, this is how good she was. She would they're given a budget, and she would make that money stretch somehow to where like on the shoot days, you have like catered stuff elsewhere, but she would like have she'd be like, oh, I made some like chocolate chip pancakes, and then there's like this cheese spread, and then there's like some breakfast burritos. And so, this is breakfast. I'm gonna clear that out, and then the lunch stuff's gonna come in. And but she was like really creative. It was because some places you're gonna just like, there's a bag of chips, there's some loose salmon,
right.
You're on your own, and there's a tub of water. You gotta like bring your own bottle, But on Jim's sitcom, Legit. He had a sitcom Legit on FX, which I appear on 2 episodes briefly. But
yeah, I want to tell you in the intro before you came on, we made sure to call you an actor because I saw you on another podcast where you kind of took offense to being called an actor.
I've done some acting. I'm not good at that. So Dan Bacadol, who plays I think Steve is the guy's character. No, I don't know why I'm blanking on it, but plays the older brother of DJ Qualls, who's in the show, is disabled.
Yeah.
He's an alcoholic. And Dan Bacadol has been on everything. I mean, he was the Daily Show correspondent, but he's been on like Veep. He was on, I think he was just shooting something in England. He's been on like countless television shows and movies. He's been on a lot of sets at some point. He would come because he's friends with Jim, and he would actually do some stuff for us, and he would just come to hang out and support it. But he told me one night, he goes, yeah, man, your craft services is so, that's why I come here. Like, it's like, it's so good. Like, because like it was like legendary to the point where there was another show that Jim was going to do for NBC, and then COVID happened, and then they pulled the plug on it and stuff. And that was like one of the first persons he said, he goes, we got to hire her for craft services. I think it's Phil Rosenthal who created Everyone Loves Raymond.
Okay.
He's got a Netflix show like What's Phil's Eating or What's Eating Phil.
Oh yeah. That's okay. That's him.
Yeah, he created he was the Everyone Loves Raymond. He was the creator and showrunner of that. And if you read his book, one of the things he says is most important is get a good craft service person. Like, this is very important to the success of your show. So
keep everybody happy, right?
Right. Food makes people happy, man.
Yeah. And it really is because you end up there, you know, and it's not a good one, nobody's there, but it's a good one, you'll like end up there and you'll see like, oh, hey, how you doing? It's one of the execs from Comedy Central. Hey, good to see you. Whatever. It's like kind of like a meeting.
Sure. Networking, team bonding.
Building, yeah.
So how was it? Coming from a fat guy here right now, I'm just like,
we love eating, that's for sure.
We should hire craft services for this.
There you go. Well, we just talked about we're gonna hire Chef G to
right.
So during that period where you're writing for a show, but you gotta your writing style different because you're like, it's not me telling it on stage. It's for somebody else, and you distinguish jokes you want to give to them and what you want to keep for yourself.
Well, that show we were writing a lot of topical stuff. So I don't think you can think that way. I think if you're writing for a television show, even if you're a stand-up comic, because some people are just writers and they're just writing. But as my personal opinion was, as a stand-up comic, was like, this is my job right now. You get paid really well to write for a television show. And if you got a joke, then it should go on the TV show, you know, like if you can. And I guess some people might make that distinction, but it's, I don't know. I just, to me, it was like, I want this TV show to be going on as long as possible.
Oh,
so I'm going to put the best jokes on here because I'd rather be just driving into this studio, you know, and they're like, hey, we got a road. Honestly, they're like, we have a lobster roll truck coming in today and a coffee cart. Great. Like that was like your day to day, like the perks of doing and getting paid a great health insurance than, you know, doing 42 weeks a year on the road. I'd rather do 10 weeks a year on the road or 15 and then do more local shows. And so I still like doing stand up, but like, God, the older I get, I don't want to be getting on planes, you know?
Okay.
Have you been in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Have you've done clubs here? Have you been in Appleton? We're close to the Skyline in Appleton.
Yeah, I've never done the Skyline. So I did years ago I did this Comedy Zone gig in Nina.
Oh yeah. That place is shut down now.
Yeah, I bet. I was there with Screech.
I remember when he was gonna be there. I do remember that.
Long time ago. I was building for him. So I was like, it was a long time ago.
But I remember them advertising because they were bringing in names, and I remember Screech is coming.
Shit, that building isn't even there anymore. It's like a bank headquarters now.
It was like a strip mall kind of.
Yeah.
Gilligan's.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I actually stayed in a condo with him for a week.
With Screech?
Me and Screech.
Dustin you got to have a Screech story.
Come on.
I will tell you this, I don't want to speak ill of the dead,
right?
But I will say this, and this, I've said this many times. I said it when he died on our podcast. I went into that week, and they were like, "Yeah, you're going to be sharing the condo with Dustin Diamond." I was like, "What? Okay, cool. Still cool though, because you know, watch them on TV." And then I had some comics tell me like, "Oh man," like, and I don't know if they knew this or they heard it secondhand or they just thought. they said Dustin Diamond, he's a pain in the ass to work with. He's difficult. You're not gonna enjoy working with him. And they go, oh, do you have merchandise? I said, yeah, I have this Eat Baby shirt that I sell to make ends, because when you're middling, you got to sell this merch to get to the next. It's really key. He's not going to want you to sell merch probably. And anyways, it's not going to be a fun week. He shows up to the condo with like a case of beer and food and stuff. And he goes, hey man, Dustin, nice to meet you. We're going to have a fun week. Whatever. I'm like, all right. You sit down and talk to him. We're going to have a great time. Dude, I go up there. I go, is it cool if I sell a shirt? He goes, yeah, why don't you give me one and I'll promote it on stage 2 for you. So this is way the opposite. And the whole week went great. He would promote my merch on there. He'd make sure if people were buying shit, they would buy from me, to the point where like even like I had a fun week with him. He couldn't
That's
have been
awesome.
nice.
Good.
Then even a couple months later, he called me from Vegas late one night. He goes, yo, someone's doing your joke. There's this joke here that you do about the compression stockings and things. I'm like, yeah, someone else probably does. It's a fat guy joke, you know. And and he goes, you want me to fucking talk to him about it? I go, nah, it's cool, dude. You don't have to. But that was like literally, he was like this.
Wow. He's
I have
got your
nothing to
back,
do
man.
with
He
it.
had your back.
No, I'm not. That doesn't mean he hasn't had run-ins with people.
Oh
and,
yeah.
Yeah.
things happen. That's fine. But I can only speak from my personal experience. So I felt bad when he died, because I kind of felt, because number one, he had cancer and he died really young, and people were just making jokes about him. And I'm like,
Boy,
most people didn't know him, so you should at least, if you didn't know him,
Right.
you should be like, God, it sucks. The guy died young from cancer. You know?
yeah.
But he was like from
Wisconsin.
Milwaukee area
Yeah, he
in
was from
Wisconsin. He's from
Wisconsin,
Wisconsin in our area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but I will tell you, there's a place, and this is the time of year I got to contact them. In Clearwater Harbor in the chain of lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Indian Casino.
Yeah, no, Clearwater Harbor. It's called. It's like a restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they have a
boats.
floating dock where they have bands and stuff like that.
Yep.
I know the owners of that. I'm friends. My mom and her friends are musicians. My mom's friends, and they're my friends too. Musicians. They go and they play there in the summer. And I've done shows in that boathouse before, but I haven't done them in a long time. And I was gonna try and do one last year, and I couldn't. But this is I was trying to arrange it like in the middle of the year, and it didn't work out. But I'm gonna try and arrange something for this summer to be up there. So I
Awesome.
If you're there, we're there.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not far from here.
Yeah, that's all. We're only 40 minutes from there.
look, I've been mainly into that area that you're talking about in the summer. So again, to me, maybe it's the Dustin Diamond thing where I'm like, it's great. And you're like, it's great. Why would anyone like ever leave here? And you're like, have you been here in January? Like, no, I haven't been there.
Yeah.
That's why.
I wouldn't recommend a Miami guy coming here in January. It's not pleasant.
That's a great place. Yeah.
Awesome. And all the lakes, I remember swimming in the lakes, and I would want to ride a motorcycle. It's like something I'd want to do, but I live in LA, so I'll just be pancaked, dead. Like I've seen it too many times. But when I've been up there, I'll ride motorcycles in the back.
Nice.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
I got to worry about deer, mostly shooting out of a cornfield or something.
Yeah, that's your biggest threat out there. Yeah. Or drunks. I mean, we do drink a lot here. So
Yeah, it's true. We do.
Yeah. You guys.
So, so your mom, you said, is a musician still to this day? No. Okay.
No. My mom was friends. I was really jumbling that all together. My mom had a lot of friends who are also my friends that are musicians that played.
Okay.
Or have played or still continue to play at Clearwater Harbor in the summer. A lot of them live in the Florida Keys or they live in Central New York and stuff like that. My mom passed away like 3 years ago. If you want to make this podcast sad now. Thanks for bringing it up. It's really cool.
He's good. He's good at that. He fucks it all.
I am good at fucking that up. So scrap
somewhere in heaven
let's
playing
talk
a
about your
guitar
hippie
now.
mom for a bit. Yeah, scrap that. Scrap that.
She's somewhere in heaven playing a recorder or a guitar right now. No, I'm kidding. She was.
Who came up with the concept for the podcast that you do with Jim? Because it's a cool concept. You guys pick a topic that he knows nothing about and find some expert to with Jim. Yeah.
Jim came up with the basic idea, and then we honed it together, me and him and Kelly Zabilski, who's the other co-host on there and producer of it. And but he had the bones of it pretty much. He goes, I have a good he called me in his office one day because we were starting it. We wanted to start it as the Jim Jeffries show we knew it was going to be ending. He goes, I have a good idea for this podcast. And you know what's funny about it is, and for people that are listening that don't know, it's called I Don't Know About That with Jim Jeffries. And we have each episode is a specific topic. It can be cheese, the Watergate scandal,
Kinky history.
Yeah, kinky history.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Birds. It could be World War II. It could be Salem trials. It can be anything. We just have to find an expert on that, which we learned with our friend Tom Nichols, Nick Nichols, who wrote a book called The Death of Expertise. An expert is whoever knows the most about a certain subject in a room. Because sometimes we'll do a subject and be like, that person isn't the foremost expert on, Coca-Cola. It's this other person. Like, first of all, that person still is an expert and they knew more than we did,
Right.
right.
We get these, we pick a topic. Jim does not know what we are talking about. And I think sometimes people think that we're lying. He never knows what we're talking about. So he shows up. This is why it's his dream job, because he's not allowed to prepare. This would be anyone's dream job. You just show up to work. You're not allowed to prepare. You're not allowed to know what we're talking about. For him, it's just like, you got to be funny,
Yeah.
and then, then he guesses what they're there to talk about, judging a book by its cover. It's a segment. He's like, he looks at him. He goes, I see something in the background. And then I ask him a series of questions that Kelly and I have put together, sometimes with the help of the expert. And he answers them. And we see how he did. Sometimes he does terrible. Sometimes he does surprisingly good. And then we go back with the expert and we learn. So it's crazy how much I've learned in that, without knowing that I learned. Like,
Yeah,
just,
I imagine.
Yeah, I'll just be things that I'm like, oh, I know that somehow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it is a fun concept. It's a cool podcast to watch, and it's different than, it's on its own level. I mean, like, there's nothing else like it out there. So if
there's people like me that to learn something funny, while being funny is a great way to learn. Otherwise, it's boring,
And that's how it's fun. When we get our guests, we need people that know about a subject that can answer all these questions. But we also need good sports. We tell, because we'll tell them, like, look, just so you know, there'll be jokes made and stuff. Like, I'll bring it back on track. I'll always steer us back on. And if there's anything you're really uncomfortable with, because sometimes we have like a professor from MIT or something, we can edit it out. And very rarely does that happen. Like, there was one guy that got caught up in it and started like cursing, and he didn't mean to. I didn't mean to do it. I'm like, we'll edit it out. Don't worry. Like, he got caught up in the whole like, yeah, I'm part of this. He's like, let's just get.
Now that we're like 50 minutes in, that did. Yeah, feel free to curse.
I think I have.
Okay, I forget to tell people that sometimes. Like, we're not trying to win any wholesome awards. So
the only thing I want to bring up one more, and then we don't want to about Jim, is I watch a clip of his, and I see you wear a lot of t-shirts with rock bands. So it seems like you're into rock bands or, good music, good 70s music. And I don't know if you're just wearing the shirts or what are you wearing there?
This is Miles Davis. So
Oh, okay. So you're into good music.
Yeah.
But Jim, I believe, went on a rant about Motley Crue. I don't know if you saw his clip.
It was our metal episode. Yeah. We had Rob.
Where he talked about how Motley Crue could be sung by boy bands.
I think what he said was, if you had boy bands sing all their songs, they would make sense. Is what he was saying. Yeah. And he went through and did he's the one that called Dr. Feel Good.
Yeah. So they're basically phony rock stars singing like boy bands.
I see what you're doing here.
Why, are you a Motley Crue fan? Or?
Yeah. That was my childhood. I was like 10 years old when Show to the Devil came out.
I want to get your opinion on, and this the only reason I want to bring about Jim is your opinion on the Motley Crue and their boy band persona.
No offense to the guy you tour with, but fuck Jim Jeffries. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Shadow the Devil will be a good counter for that, because all the examples he gave were actually pretty good. I forget which other songs. He's Dr. Feelgood, and he had the
like in the 80s when they were up more
Kickstart My Heart
than
like,
rock.
Kickstart My Heart. Like, it was like,
look, we're both giant Dave Matthews Band fans, and I don't think there's a band that gets ripped on more by comedians than the Dave Matthews Band. So if I couldn't take the joke,
yeah,
I just had to bring it up because we have a battle. I grew up. I'm older than him, so I grew up a Kiss fan, and he grew up a Motley Crue fan. So we just battle.
I don't mind Motley Crue. I think in the concept, in the framework of that episode, though, because we were talking about metal and the origin of metal, we didn't really talk about hair metal a lot, because they're really the hair metal category, right?
Yeah.
Because we stuck, because the guy we had on, Rob Dukes, he was in Exodus, which is like
they're heavy.
They're like a thrash metal, maybe.
Right.
There's so many different categories. I forget now. But when we watched a clip of them and their wall of death, where the people, and I was like, what the fuck? but it was an interesting episode. Like,
I just like the tagline. I think it was on the clip was, like, tell me I'm
Yeah.
wrong, but Motley Crue is just a boy or whatever it was. It was just that I'm like, I can't wait to bring that up.
It's
So
funny.
all right.
It's funny because I've watched a lot of episodes and I've seen that thumbnail and I've never watched it. Now I'm gonna have to watch it. So
it's a good one, man. Rob Duke has some cringy stories too, but like in a fun way, like that.
Yeah.
Touring and he was in studio. We haven't had many people in studio, so he came in.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah, he's a big comedy fan. He's always in. I think he started doing stand up too, maybe.
oh really?
Oh wow!
Story is crazy. He was just a roadie, and
okay.
That band Exodus, I believe, originally like Kirk Hammett and was in that created that band. Because it's like that's the thing about these metal bands is like you see it's like more so than any other genre. It's like they just keep replacing the people.
Yeah.
Like because it's like I looked at the Wikipedia for the Exodus and it was like, oh, this era and then this era and then the era, which was Rob, who we had in
37 members.
yeah. But I think is it Exodus? I think that's the one. There was one. Yeah, that was Kirk Hammett was originally in it.
That could be. I know he came from a band like that.
Yeah. We say it in the episode at least, though.
Yeah.
And then whatever. I guess Metallica was successul. So,
A little bit.
Yeah. He may have chosen right. Yeah.
A little bit.
Guess they've made some money.
Well, anyways,
So let's
I think you're abusing me, but
I want to talk about your special on Amazon.
Oh,
You've got the special Poor Decisions. And I think it's my favorite ending of a special of any special I've ever watched. I love how you must have filmed that in just one show, huh?
Mm. Yeah, that's Eat Babies. That's the Eat Babies joke from my shirt.
Oh yes,
yeah. There you go.
Okay, you can, but yeah.
Yeah. So so that place we shot it is no longer there anymore.
Ah,
The Electric Pickle.
Electric Pickle, thank you.
Yeah.
Because Hurricane Matthews wiped it out. I know you were like filming during that, and you're
no, it didn't wipe it out. But I think it was it was like the first bar club in this area that now is not the first, but one of the first in this area that's like really a trendy area now where they have this Art Basel every year, and it's like this midtown kind of area in Miami that's really up and coming. But it's and they had all these like music acts would come through there and DJs and stuff like that. Anyways, I was familiar with the people that owned the place. So I said, this would be a really cool place to shoot because we did not do any set design. It just looked like that. Had that really cool thing, light on the ceiling and had cool. And I was bare bones doing this special. A lot of people, I didn't even know if I wanted to do a special, but I had my record label was helping me put it together, Comedy Records. And they said, yeah, let's take a shot and do this. So my friend shot it and it looks fantastic. For the amount of money we're spending, I mean, it just visually looks great. It was edited great. I like all the material that I did and stuff, but we had what we wanted was around 180 to 200 people in there for this shoot. And this hurricane, was it Hurricane Matthews? Is that what it was? Yeah, you're okay. So this hurricane was starting to come towards Miami, and then everyone was telling me we're not going to come. There's a hurricane. I'm like, I don't think it's going to hit, and whatever. And then it did this thing where it just kept skirting along and then it just stayed away, but there was weather, but it wasn't hitting.
Yeah.
The day before that, I did a local radio program there. Used to be Paul and Young Ron, but then Young Ron was really old and he retired. And then it was Paul show, which is a hugely popular show there in South Florida. And thank God I did it because in the end, only 39 people showed up. And I believe like 15 of them came because I did that radio show. Like they heard me and I said, the show's still on, please come out. And then some of my diehardest friends came out basically. Okay. And like, we're doing this. I've already paid for everything. The camera's here. Like we're still shooting this, guys. Like I know it's like a little rainy out, but there's not a hurricane, And that was the only unfortunate thing because 180 people in there versus 39 would be better. Because when you see it, it still looks great and it sounds good. But like sometimes like the jokes when 39 people laugh versus 200, it's
right.
Like, well, that joke still did well. There's only 39 people there, but and it was really stressful for me because I was like, man, I've done all this time and work to do this. So I would say I like all the jokes and I like everything in the way I was producing stuff. but I feel like I'm a little tight in my performance, like because I'm a lot looser on stage normally. That being
Sure.
said, I'm so happy with the product and everything like that. This is a full comeback to craft services, by the way. And I'm glad that you guys like it, and I think it's a good. I think the jokes are good, and I still think it's a good thing. But I was like, it was right after it got released, and I was like, man, I wish I was just looser. I was so tense because I think. And I went to the craft services table at the Jim Jeffries show, and there was a guy there, and he goes, hey man, it was just sometimes they had like people that got like VIP days where they got to go behind the scenes. It was just a guy. He goes, "You're Forrest Shaw." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I just watched your special, Poor Decisions." I go, "Yeah, it's not that good." And because I was like down, and he goes, "Oh, I thought it was good." And I was like, "What am I doing? Why am I?"
Right.
And then I was kind of like, yeah, it is good. I was just like really down on myself, like about this things. And so I'm really happy with it still, but I just wish that, well, you know what? It's named Poor Decisions for a reason. So I keep thinking.
But I do love the end where you deliver the last line, and then in the credits you realize that you had to kind of recut it because somebody like tipped over a bottle as you were delivering the line.
So getting back to that, so we had one day to shoot it. I'm sorry, we were going to do 2 takes. We couldn't do 2 takes. We had one day to shoot it in the thing. So I'm super stressed out. I get to the punchline of the last joke, and this guy just knocks over a bottle in the middle of the punchline, and I was like, and you can go ahead and watch it. You have to watch the credits basically to see this. And you know what? There's a comic that just did this recently, Stavos. I don't know if you know, is a big guy.
Yeah. Yep.
He did that in his special. I'm not saying he ripped it off from me because he probably didn't see my special, but I was just like, I did this. And he's hugely popular right now. But so I said, we did pickups where I took notes in my head, and then one of the producers was like, we got to go back and catch this joke. Let's get this joke. I'm like, well, I got to redo the last joke. So I was like redoing the last part. And if you watch the credits, I'm like, all right, guys, like I got to redo that last part. So I do it. And then nobody laughs. And I was like, well, you guys have to laugh. And they're like, well, we just heard it. I'm like, yeah, I know you just heard it, but you got to laugh because we're re-recording it.
Help a brother out. Come on. I get you heard it. But
and so it's me continuing to tell the audience what to do. And then it just is like this clusterfuck of shit. And so you kind of see it interspliced with the credits. And I think it's great. I'm glad you liked it because I thought that was really fun. But,
yeah, I thought it was brilliant to include it because it just shows you what goes into it. And, that's.
But yeah, it was a tough, man. It's tough to shoot a special. That's all I'll tell you. Like, it was tough to do it. And I'm glad it's out there, and I'm glad I have all those jokes that got, because that was a culmination of a lot of jokes that over the years. That's what you kind of want to do when people say it's a special. I just want to get all these jokes out there so there's a record of them now.
Yeah,
so people see, and I'd like to shoot something else like in the future, but man, just that experience was good and bad. Where I was like, man, that was fucking tough.
Your first one, right? That's a lot of stress.
The hurricane and
the hurricane.
Usually you hire somebody else to do it. I'm like, I'm going to produce it all. Don't worry. I got it. And I was like, nah, I learned a lesson there. I was like, I'm going to just hire someone to do all that next time. And I'll just...
So did it go from 2 recordings down to 1 because of the hurricane? And just
okay, 2 recordings on the 1 because of the hurricane, because people weren't going to be able to showing that because people didn't want to leave their house.
So did you wake up that morning even thinking you were doing 2 still?
No, we already knew. I was like, let's just see. I was hoping we would get like 100 people to come,
Yeah.
And I was like, we got 39. Let's rip it, guys. Let's do it. Like, it was just like, we're doing it,
Yeah.
But it's a small, intimate place and stuff, and it still has this cool vibe. I think I like the way it turned out though with that, but it was stressful is what I'm saying. So you guys don't see it, but I'm telling you, inside when I was performing, I was like,
I think knowing the story, I'll probably watch it a little different the next time I watch it. Like knowing that's the pressure you're under to.
But the bottom line is everybody, it's on Amazon Prime. Right. You can watch it on Amazon Prime.
Watch it on Amazon Prime. There's another story. Jim says he's an executive producer. He wasn't. He didn't do anything. That was me trying to sell to Netflix. And then I asked him if I could put his name on there, and he said sure. He didn't do anything. And then when we didn't sell it, we put it on Amazon Prime. I go, hey, Jim's not an executive producer. I'm like, oh, it's already going out like that. But I think secretly they wanted to do that because they wanted to have his name on there. So, all right. But I did this all by myself. So I kind of wanted to be separate. And then they were like, well, it's going out like that. And then I guess one day Jim and I were somewhere on tour, and he went on IMDb to look up something for I guess he was looking up something on his special, what year one of his specials came out. Yeah. And then he goes, because he just didn't even remember the conversation. He goes, did I executive produce your special? And I was like, no, he didn't. Because I don't remember doing that. I was like, you didn't do anything. He goes, am I owed money? I'm like, I have not made a lot of money from that. Just so you know, I'll buy you some McDonald's, some breakfast.
I'll buy you craft services.
Yeah, right.
I'm yours.
Right.
Yeah.
But hey,
But,
use it if you got it, right? I mean, that's what friends are for, right?
I tried.
Yeah.
So,
Good for you.
You got to do what you can.
Yeah.
Have you and Dave figured out a time to play Ms. Pac-Man yet? You gonna get that thing taken care of?
That was on the last one. I don't.
Yeah.
I haven't figured it out yet because I'm in Florida right now.
Okay.
And he's about to leave to Alabama because we've recorded next week's episode. I don't want to spoil, like, how things work. But we're ready. But yeah, maybe we won't come back right before the beginning of February.
Yeah.
I'm worried now though because I didn't. Sometimes I just don't listen to your podcast partner. I'm sure that happens to you guys.
It does all the time.
He had literally said, I used to have the Miss Pac-Man with the speed chip, whatever. And I didn't hear him say any of that shit. And I was like, I used to have one of these in my house. And then I go, well, I used to have one in this house. And he goes, yeah, that's what I just said. I go, oh. He's got patterns. I go by feel. That's what I said on the podcast. I go by feel. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Pattern or feel? What's your...
I'm definitely I played by feel. Not that I played a ton, but
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough to figure out a pattern.
Yeah, I'm not right. I'm not smart enough to do pattern. But those are the ones that win, I think.
I don't think he's going to remember the pattern. That's where I think my advantage is going to be.
I would just get him a few beers in before this thing starts, and you'll be fine.
I don't have to like press him to do that. So it's going to be
right. Yeah. What was
by the way, we are drinking tequila tonight.
Yeah.
I don't have any booze here. I was going to drink something. I have. Well, this is tequila. I'll just say that this is tequila too.
Oh, awesome,
beautiful.
Great. We forgot to mention because we like the. I did when bought up.
What brand did you get?
Cabo Wabo.
Oh yeah, Van Halen. There you go. You guys are all about the rock.
Yeah, a little. Yeah,
it
is. Actually, I enjoy that one.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good tequila.
It's a smoother tequila. I'm not a huge tequila guy, but I do enjoy that one.
No, I love tequila. Yeah, I don't drink a lot of Cabo Wabo. I've had some before. I just haven't had it in a long time. So
yeah.
And what's your brand?
Well, if I want to make it, if I'm at a bar and I just want it to be easy, I'll go like Don Julio or Herradura is the ones that I know they'll have. Patron is not really my favorite, and then there's like all these celebrity brands like Cazador is pretty good. The Casamigos is another one I was thinking, but man, there's this one brand, and I mean, if you're in California, you can get a lot of tequila. It's like and so there's one called Tapatio, which is also the name of a hot sauce. Some people are like the hot sauce, and it's like it's a good price, but it's a really good tequila. It's called Tapatio. Like if you're ever in an area that sells lots of tequila, or if you're in Mexico,
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't know. If you guys ever go to Vegas,
I haven't been there in like a decade, but yeah,
there's a cool tequila bar there that's like, and it's Mas Por Favor is the name of the taco shop, and it's like a Vegas kitschy kind of thing, but it's a taco shop in Chinatown, of course, and you can get tacos, and then right next to it, there's just a guy standing in front of a door, and usually you have to make reservations, and you go into like this kind of wooden door, and then they've made this obviously fake, like recreation of a narco tunnel, smuggle drugs through, and there's actually like some fake cocaine on a barrel and stuff, and you walk through this tunnel, and then there's an actual bar in the back, and it's a tequila bar / taco bar stuff. They even have like a thing where you can get like little dime bag shots of tequila margarita with salt, like you roll on your thing like that and stuff. They have so many it's a fun place to go in Vegas with friends, spend an hour or two in there. It's a fun place to go, and they got good tacos and stuff. So if you ever want to like spread your wings tequila wise when you're in Vegas. I don't know why I'm promoting this bar. I get nothing out of it. But
But we now know where to look for when we go next time, because we keep talking about going. We have a comedian friend, Mike Merrifield, that performs there twice a year, and we keep wanting to go.
Yeah,
when he's there.
Yeah, he's from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You ever heard of Mike?
Yeah. I haven't seen him in years, but I worked with him a long time ago.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, he's really funny.
Yeah, he was just. I just saw him in Appleton Skyline over the holidays. He was here for the holidays, but he's usually at Brad Garrett's. Club twice a year. We keep saying we want to go down there.
Yeah, he was actually our first guest on the podcast. Yeah. So And before we did video or anything, he was out in audio only. So
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really funny. Yeah.
yeah, I went to high school with him, so I've known him for forever. But
Shit. Yeah.
yeah, that's cool.
With
Small world.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess it is.
I mean, it's weird how it feels like there's so many comedians, but then when you like start following comedians on Instagram, like you all seem to know each other. So it's a lot of you, but a tight, small group or something. I don't know. It's
Comedians that earn a living doing comedy is a smaller group than comedians.
sure.
True. Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, because comedians, there's plenty of people that say they're comedians because they've done it a couple, and I'm not shitting on them all. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I'll know the one. If you tell me you have a buddy that's a comic that makes a living doing comedy, I'll probably know them.
Wow.
Guy or girl, whoever it is. Yeah, I'll probably know who they are.
Yeah.
And if I've never met them, I know their name. It's just
Sure.
It's just how it is. But and in fact, if I don't, it's always weird. Suspect.
Okay.
How was your experience on Something's Burning? I saw your episode with we love Bert. We've seen Bert live and looked like you had a fun time.
It was fun. I've known Bert a long time too, and
Okay.
it was fun. It's tough. I hadn't watched a lot of those episodes. I knew what it was. You go in there and they cook the meal and stuff, but it's tough going there with Jim because him and Jim are such big personalities.
Yeah.
Like most of the time I was just kind of in the corner, like just staying out of the way. Like, and I was like, also I'm such a fatty. I was just like, this food's good. I just kept eating the food and he kept making me like a margarita. I think I was drinking I was drinking tequila of some sort. I know that. And so I was probably just drunk in the corner, like, anyways, I'm throwing a word here a couple of times. But what was really cool was to see his whole operation. It's like, man, he I mean, that he's out there, besides all of his podcasts that he does and stuff. It's like when he's on tour or promoting something, I mean, he's got a real crew working for him. And it was interesting to see that because he's become this, arguably one of the biggest comics, in the world, and it's not by accident. It's because of all this work he's put in it, but all this behind the scenes stuff to see it and I know Dave sees it because Dave Williamson tours with him, but I don't see it,
Sure.
And so that was interesting. But I've known Bert for a long time now. Yeah. But that was fun. It's funny. And I went on the Asia trip and I get back and I live on the side of a house in LA that's these married couple and their kids. So I have like their little side house thing.
Okay.
And they give me this box of mail. And there was all sorts of shit in there. I was like, this is fun. All the screeners, because I'm in the Writers Guild of the movies and scripts and stuff like that. And then I open up this one box, and it's just a box. It's not marked or anything. And then there's a wooden box in it, and it has like some sort of writing on Japanese writing. And I open it, and it's like a knife, like a chef's knife, like a real nice, like this big. But there's nothing on it that I can see, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
Is this a death threat?
Yeah, it's weird to get a knife. And I had a friend live with me, and she was a comic, and she was like obsessed with my Japanese knives. So then I texted her. I'm like, "Did you send me a knife in the mail?" And she's like, "What are you talking about? Like, I didn't send you a knife." Like, and then I keep going through my mail, and I get to another box, and I open it, and it's like a couple like pint glasses that say "Something's Burning" and a T-shirt that says "Something's Burning." I'm like, if that knife was it's like, thank you for being on the show, like Merry Christmas. It was like a gift. I go, I wonder if that knife was that makes more sense,
That came of a cooking show. Yeah, that might do it.
Yeah. So I texted Bert and I just go, hey, I think, did you send me a knife? like if you did, thank you so much. If not, it's very ominous. Whatever. And then he just wrote back, "Merry Christmas." Like, okay, got us.
That's cool.
Yeah, but so I got a cool knife for me on the show, which is really cool.
That's
cool.
You'd think it'd have it on the handle.
Something.
Yeah.
You know what I found out later, because Jim got one too, and so then I hit up Jack Hackett, who's Jim's assistant, who's on the podcast a lot, and I go. And then I hit up Jack, I was like, just to make sure, I'm like, did Jim get a knife from? And he goes, yeah. Because then I got a message, and I think it was from Bert's wife or whoever was organizing it, and said, hey, Yeah, it's from us. And I guess there was something in there that said it's from Something's Burning or Bird or whatever. But she goes, it's really hard to read and you can barely find it. And I don't know where it is. So the intentions are there. And it's like, okay. But it is still weird to just open up a box and there's a knife in there.
Yeah.
It's one of two things. It's a threat, or it's like the beginning of like, Kill Bill 3 or something, where you're just like, okay, I have.
Yes.
Or you have a stalker.
Yeah, a lot of things. But I had some origin story going on where I was like, okay, this is my knife, and maybe it's like a Jason Bourne thing where I'll be jogged back into reality. I'm trained to use blades to kill people. That's a fantasy I have. So
And then you find yourself flipping it, and
yeah. But
then you're back in the Bourne days.
Working the knife skills.
Yeah, I bang my head or something.
But you're busy with podcasts. Obviously, you're the ones you're doing. Not that you prefer, but how do you juggle those? Do you have the certain days that you do the
Good question.
Merman? Different days you do the.
Yeah.
We know about that.
Well, I don't know about that. I was doing first, and it's harder to get the guests for that one. So we usually prioritize that one. And Dave and I try to record the Mermen one on Tuesday, and I just tell Kelly like, hey, if we can try and not do this one on Tuesdays, but we'll see. We're switching the I don't know about that podcast over. We're going to be on the All Things Comedy Network.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to be recording in their studio now instead of Jack's living room. It would be like our seventh place that we record the podcast. And so we're going to be more on a regimented timeline there, because now we're going to be using in their studio. So that will help, because you
have a set schedule.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's like I'm in Florida right now. I'm not even working on stand-up or a podcast in Florida. I've over the last 3 years, I worked on a show called The Connor Moore Show, which was on and I was like writing sketches and jokes and things for that. And now I am working on a new show that will be coming out on I don't even know if I'm allowed to say, actually. So I don't know.
Exclusive? An exclusive?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm supposed to say or not. So because they haven't even done promos for it yet, but it's a new show that it's going to be on golf. So we're here shooting sketches and stuff like that, and like we're literally doing that like 6 a.m. tomorrow or something like that.
Wow.
But,
well, obviously, your reputation has gone around that from writing, that you've gone from one show to another. So that's, you gotta give yourself kudos for that.
All right, thanks for the ego boost. I just
well,
I work for quesadillas, so it's pretty.
Your writing must be working. That's awesome.
Have you not learned? Don't compliment comedians ever.
There's my boss.
I like to make him feel uncomfortable.
Chips quietly. Is that what you're trying to do? Just open them.
Just rip them.
Can you hear that? All right. Well, yeah.
We'll edit it out in post. Don't worry about it.
No, we're not gonna. We love the stuff going on.
Yeah, add some flavor.
Well, why don't you go ahead and promote? Thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you if you're up and record doing something at 6 a.m. We'll
listen to the Mermen podcast with Dave Williamson. Please listen to that. It's a fun podcast. We shoot the shit. We talk about a lot of water things, Miami, Florida, stuff like that. But it's a fun podcast. And then I don't know about that with Jim Jeffries as a podcast. We've been off for this past month because Jim has been in Australia recording a game show, but we're back at the beginning of February. So all new episodes, but there's about 130 episodes out now you can listen to. So plenty of stuff to listen to. And then go to forrestshaw.net. That's my website. You can see when I'm doing live shows and stuff like that. And my special Poor Decisions on there, on my albums and all that stuff. And yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
It's been a joy.
We love talking comedy. We're always floored when we can get a comedian to actually come on and talk to us. So
I can't wait to be in your Instagram grid next to all these women and just my face there too. Yeah,
hot.
We'll Photoshop a couple of them around you. And
yeah, all right.
Promote the episode that way.
Yeah, before we go, so your hippie mom named you Forrest. Is that your true name, Forrest? And what was the origin of that?
That's it. Yeah, I just think that's your name. If you're conceived like in a Volkswagen camper van in a state park in the 70s, that's the name you
Perfect.
get. Forrest or Fern or something like that. Yeah, they're not going to just be like,
This is
Richard.
you're
I love it. That's it. What's that? The joke about? Well, never mind.
yeah. Don't tell
About-
jokes.
Why you ask? Two dogs fucking. You ever hear that
Oh
joke
yeah, that's
about
right.
your mother's name? While you were born, and I looked out of the teepee, and it was a beautiful sunset, so we named her Sunrise.
Yeah,
Then your
yeah,
brother was born, and it was beautiful. Why you ask? Two dogs fucking.
yeah.
I ruined the joke, but I'm drunk, so
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. You might want to edit that in post. That joke down there.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Yeah, we're gonna.
Thanks, Forrest. Tell Dave we said hello. And,
I will.
we appreciate it.
We
Thank
do
you very
appreciate
much.
your time.
All right, guys. Take
All
care.
right, have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously, though, get your asses out of here.